Welcome to Pro Sisters Radio and our exclusive interview with Hollywood director Stephen Pressley and author of the KAIA Amazon series, Laura Vezzani. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Okay, so what an honor, actually, to be able to speak with both of you, especially at the same time, about this project. I mean, this is really kind of cool. And so I'd like to start with you, Laura, and just ask you, first of all, hi, Laura, how you doing? Great to meet you, sort of, kind of-ish, through the phone.
I'm doing great. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for having Stephen and I. I think this is really awesome of you guys to do this for us.
Wow, no, thank you. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to talk with us. It's pretty exciting. And, Stephen, can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. So, Laura, I'm going to start with you and ask you, what's the inspiration for KAIA?
Well, honestly, I grew up with action female shows like Wonder Woman and Bionic Woman.
Yeah.
And Xena. Xena was the absolute life-changing event for me. And I was so enthralled by the Amazons of Xena that I had to do an Amazon story. But I didn't want to just do any Amazon story. I wanted something with a huge twist. And how much more twist can you do with a female Spartacus in space that's an Amazon?
I was just going to say, how much more twist can you have than putting her out in space? And actually, I was going to ask you if Xena happened to be, because I loved Xena.
Oh, you and me both, my dear. You and me both. We're hoping for Lucy Lawless, and we're shooting for her big time. She actually knows about the project, and the last I heard is still interested. So fingers crossed.
That would be pretty badass.
Yeah.
That would be pretty badass. And so Stephen, that kind of ties right into. So I mean, you worked on Game of Thrones. And so now,
among many other things, but yes.
Yes, no, I know. I and a bunch of questions about that too. But this is similarly themed kind of thing. People with swords, and so I'm wondering, first of all, how did you two connect for this project? And Stephen, what sparked your interest?
Well, what happened is that we had a couple of mutual friends, and they were looking for a script to be generated, a adaptation of the book to start the first book, so that it could be actually taken into the system. And I'm a WGA writer, and I was looking at everything, and once I got to speak to her and got to know her and like her ambition and her passion, I felt that it was a timely subject. Everything was catching on fire, and I said, why not? Why not? It's like the one story that when I got into it and started reading, that it seemed like an agenda didn't have to be forced to make it sell. It was a good story.
Okay.
I mean, it was just like had everything there,
right,
without having to make it feel that it was forced, so everybody can enjoy it, everybody can love it. I couldn't see a downside to it. So I digress. Back to the point, like we had mutual friends, and there was this one guy named Shamim. He knew one of our other friends, and I'm blanking on her name. Laura, can you help me? It's Nicole. Nicole, yeah. And,
Laura.
Yeah. Through Shamim. And Laura, you correct me if that's completely correct, because I didn't know the whole chain of how things happened, but it was just like a perfect storm of how she got to bounce into me. I was coming directly off Thrones, and I was shooting a movie with Danny Trejo and Robert Davi right after that.
Mm-hmm. So basically it was
that's how we met. It was right then, about a year ago.
That's awesome. So it was a whole bunch of serendipitous coincidences and steps towards one another.
Yep, that's pretty much how it happened. If it hadn't been for our good friend Nicole, that was the cement between the two of us. That's
awesome. I mean, that's really, really, really cool. And actually, Stephen, going back to something that you had said, and this was for both of you. So you touched on actually a couple of things I was going to ask about, Stephen, about the intended audience and the social and cultural relativity. I would say especially now.
Absolutely.
Especially now. And so, Laura, did you have an intended audience, or were you kind of coming from the same perspective that Stephen was coming from, that this is something that any and everyone of all ages and no matter the gender could really appreciate?
Pretty much. much, yeah. It started out the Zenite audience, but it just exploded into the supers and just everybody who loves sci-fi. The Star Wars people have gotten into it.
Right.
We have a huge audience, and this is going to be big.
And so Stephen, you were going to say something regarding that as well. The intent audience and the social and cultural relativity, especially. Were you thinking at the time that kind of looking at what's happening, at least in America, because you're living in Belfast, but what's happening in America, politically, and the beginnings of the Me Too movement, and then with the recently, elected very predominantly female Congress. So here we have this very feminine, very empowered, feminine energy. Were you thinking about that when you were looking at it as a film, and were you thinking about that, Laura, when you were writing it, or were you thinking it more just in terms of the another Xena, another pop culture, strong female figure like Wonder Woman and Xena and the like?
I was thinking about, my hero had to be a female because I connect with, like I said, I grew up on Bionic Woman in the 70s, so...
Lindsay Wagner.
Definitely connected with the females. And yes, I would love to see Lindsay Wagner in the project as well. Stephen and I have talked about her.
What?
So what? Yeah, Lindsay. What the whole thing started as, this was a 9-year endeavor.
Wow.
And 9 years ago, there were no female action heroes.
You're right.
And certainly not in the movies. It was just absolutely
devoid.
A male-dominated industry. And suddenly, I was told many years ago, because I'm very spiritual, that it would happen when the female energy spiked to its strongest. And that's exactly what has happened.
Yep.
So believe what you want, but some of these spiritualists really do know what they're talking about, because literally it took Wonder Woman to come out and KAIA suddenly got interest. That's just the way it happened.
Yeah. That's okay. I'm right there with you. Hugely spiritual person, and definitely, we're definitely seeing the rise. Finally, I'm gonna say of that feminine energy, and this is I'm so excited right now. Like now I'm getting I'm getting a little Twitter-pated because there are so many there's so many aspects and ways to really talk about this, and certainly the spiritual aspect is one ginormous one, and the timeliness of it, and the synergy of it. And so, Stephen, coming to you, the same thing. When you were talking about it basically being fail-safe, did you have any of that in mind as well? Because does this go back to your childhood as well? Because it seems like you have this interest in that kind of gladiator themed, the swords and the with your involvement with Game of Thrones, and now your involvement with the KAIA series.
Well, it's completely different because I grew up with He-Man and She-Ra, Red Sonja, all that. That was like my thing.
Right.
I didn't care if it was a man or a woman. I just want everybody to be live in that moment. Because every time I've watched the movie, or every time I've read a book, I've been able to visualize and go there. And I guess that's why I have the job that I have, is because I'm able to see it so clearly even before it happens. And for me, the feminine energy, I think it's great. I want everybody. I've always thought, every little girl deserves her princess, warrior, whatever. Every little boy's got his.
Right.
And I wanted everybody to have an opportunity to have whatever makes them happy.
Yeah.
So with me, it was more about having a story, because I feel like agendas and political cycles, they come and they go, and they go in circles and cycles, but I think there has been a breakthrough at that point, which I think is good, and it gives a great opportunity here, but I was more interested in the actual meat of the story, because the actual story can last a test of time beyond that, and a next sector of young ladies and individuals that feel that they can be strong and empowered
and overcome.
But yet they can still be complex and have emotions and go through different things that we all have.
Sure.
And still have their own heroes.
Well,
it was a great thing for me because I felt like it was like this is a good story that just needs to be told. And even though it's the perfect storm for that to happen, that's even great. But it can stand the test of time because that the story is not forced. It's not something that's forced in an agenda. It's something that's already built there. It was organically built.
And okay, so speaking to that, I mean, would you say that it's because of the pretty timeless and universal, constant human themes that the KAIA saga embodies? Those themes, like what?
It embodies a little piece of every single one of us, because I feel like in every man and every woman there is a feminine and a masculine side.
Sure,
to both
absolutely.
Sides. It depends on whatever balance you feel within yourself as who you are.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little bit of KAIA in everyone.
Sure. And I think that's the key word there is balance. But what I was,
100%.
Yeah, and seems like the KAIA saga is about that rising up out of some kind of oppression, and we as human beings experience that in our lives for sure. And that oppression may look differently, but it's still something that we can all relate to. From that, being in that place of some either a personal oppression or a political oppression or some kind of that we rise up from, and to see that in depicted in another character or another human being. Of course, now we're in space, which is kind of exciting. That certainly throws a whole very interesting and fun, like you were saying, Laura. Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars geek. I totally am.
I think we all are.
Right. And, the whole notion of the Force, and that it's there for everyone and you can choose. You can either use the Force for good or for bad. It's your choice. But I'm loving, I haven't had a chance to read the KAIA saga. I did kind of a cursory, I haven't had a chance to read the whole book.
Gee, I wonder why.
Right,
it's like 400 pages.
Yeah, then I just got it. But that being said, and I have been, I recently did the Girls Rock camp, and you pretty much live and breathe girls rock for about 80 hours of the week. I don't know if you're familiar with the Girls Rock camp, but it's a pretty amazing. It's an international non-for-profit. It's really all about empowering young women to live and be their authentic selves mindfully and unapologetically. This whole thing is really, really cool. Like, I'm kind of... And Stephen, you were a music person. Like, you're a composer, you produce stuff. And so for you, what was that jump? Because I know for me as a musician, like, that's a passion that I could never, ever, ever move away from. And so for you, what inspired the jump from music to film?
Well, I grew up with Pressley, so it's that's kind of forced on you.
Yeah.
I did opera music, sing in Carnegie Hall, toured the cathedrals of Europe, and sang on the Today Show as a kid. I went through all that. I had rock bands that were signed. And the thing was that it just wasn't really anything that really stuck. I kept running into a lot of closed doors.
Okay.
And I just sat there and I said, you know what? You got one life. I'm going to start walking through open doors.
Nice. Path of least resistance.
Yep. Well, there still always has been a little bit of resistance, but the thing was, it seemed like it was willed into being, like it was meant to be. Because I went to college and I was like, man, I love film editing, I love doing this, I love running around with a camera, I love acting, I love all this stuff. So I got a degree. I got 2 degrees in electronic media management and marketing in media. So I did that, and then I taught film school. And then I went on to go do a bunch of rock stuff. And then once I started saying, "Hey, dude, you're starting to lose your hair a little bit," nobody wants to see some guy that's pushing towards 40 starting a rock career. So I was kind of like, this is something I could age a little bit better into. And plus, I had the right opportunities. Like, the thing was, I had the gift of being able to just meet the right people at the right place and the right times, and not care about who they were, but more care about them as a person. And that served me very well. But in truth, it's still always about the friendships more than it is about any of the business.
Oh, gosh, can you say that again? Because that was so beautifully, it's so good and refreshing to hear people say that. That it's about the relationships and the connections and not about the money or the fame and all that. Like, that was so amazing to hear you say that. Like, wonderful to hear you say that. And
basically, what I was saying is, there's a lot of people out there that get rich and they get famous, and I've already felt this as well, even in my hometown.
Right.
You come back, you've done stuff, you've done something, and you come back, and then you get a lot of negativity thrown at you. It's more like people want to be around you less than you were when you were a loser, want to be a rock star.
When you're a loser, want to be rock star?
Yeah, it's really strange. It's really the strangest thing, and people are very hard to figure out. But there's one thing that I realize is that, like, there's a lot of other people that are like me. Like, I have a friend that he's been working for 35 years, almost probably about 40 years now at Paramount Studios. And I was just sitting with him and talking with him, and I didn't know who he was. And I just walked out and he handed me his business card, and I was like, holy cow, this guy is really important.
Right.
And I was like, but then
holy cow!
That was the end of it. That was the end of it. Now I became friends with him, his sister, his family, everything. It's like, and just that was another thing that helped me. I haven't really worked on a whole lot of his projects or anything, but he's always there if I need him for guidance or anything like that. But if I ever need anything, he can help me grow.
Right.
But it really is about the people you meet, the way you care about each other.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are, what race, what sex, what religion. It doesn't matter, because love is the same all the way around.
Beautifully put. I'm snapping for you. That was really beautifully put. Really, really beautiful. Laura, you want to?
I want to just say,
I bet you do.
Kudos to Stephen, because he did an awesome job as director for the KAIA trailer. I mean, it is beyond my comprehension of what that thing was going to look like. And I just recently saw it on a private screening for a friend, a 60-inch screen, and it blew me away. It made me realize just what we have.
Yeah. I saw the trailer on my phone screen and was still blown away. You know?
Really? Oh, wow.
I saw the trailer on my phone screen, so I can only imagine what seeing it on a 60-inch, like full color and sound,
yeah. It blew me away. That's when I that was my epiphany of, wow, not only do we have something great, I have the best director I could possibly have for this movie, and I'm very, very excited about that. Really, really excited. Good job, Stephen.
Well, that's actually something that I shied away from, because I wanted to produce and get a very strong female director in there. It's something that I fought for a while with Laura. I've really been trying to have the right female come in there and be able to carry the character too. And we're working towards that, since there's going to be so many movies. I'm thinking about, if we get everything in place, all the funding and whatnot in place, I'm talking with another really, really good female director, and we're wanting to do kind of like a Ryan Johnson, J.J. Abrams type thing, where we can go back and forth, and that way, like, we can help each other work on the dynamics of the character. Because no matter what I can ever do, I will never be a woman. I will never be able to 100% understand KAIA the exact same way a woman can.
Wow.
That's why Laura has to be with me along for the journey. Like I said, Laura, you're not going anywhere. You can't leave. So at any point, because you have to have that, you have to have the creative mind that started that. Even though I did some things, some tweaking here and there, when it comes down to it, Laura is KAIA. When it comes down to it, Laura is KAIA.
Did you hear that, Laura?
Yes, and it's true. I do have an attitude like KAIA.
Well, you'd have to in order to write her, right?
Yes.
I mean, you would have to be that in order to write about it, and with any sort of authenticity, And
I hated to be in her imagination in grade school if I was a little boy that ticked her off. Because she's...
KAIA basically kicks butt and doesn't listen to anybody. And that would pretty much be me. I'm a bit of a warrior.
Okay, wait, hang on just 1 second, because Stephen was still finishing a sentence, and I don't know if you heard him, Laura. Stephen, so what did you just say, Stephen? You were...
I just said that... I said about if... because it's 9 books, and the books are having to be split in half for each movie that we go through, or if we take it in a television series direction... We're unsure about that at this point, but I was sitting there saying that as rough and as tough as KAIA is, that would have been a whole lot of detention slips for Laura if she hadn't poured it out in the books.
Did you catch all that, Laura?
Kind of. I heard most of it except for the end.
Okay. I don't know. Stephen, is it possible to repeat what you just said so Laura can hear what you just said at the end there?
Laura.
Can you hear him now?
Hey, Laura?
Yeah, I can hear him now.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So, Laura, you are KAIA for the simple fact, another reason that I know is because if I had to live in your mind when you, as an adolescent, and I happened to be a boy, I would have hated to be living in your mind, knowing what would have happened to me after reading KAIA. I said that would have been a heck of a lot of detention slips.
Okay, so picking up, you were talking about, a moment ago, you were saying that you are that warrior. You wanna talk about that?
KAIA kicks butt and doesn't take prisoners. I mean, she is the force that causes a civil war in space. That's why it's such a long saga. It is a civil war in space. She frees the slaves.
So what was your inspiration for that? Like
No spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Yeah, really, we're going to edit that out. We're just going to edit that out. I don't want to know that, Laura. No. La. I am not listening. So
okay, well, she's a leader, basically, and it is a civil war in space. That's what the saga is about. But
now I don't have to read it. I know what happens. Just kidding.
Yes, you do.
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. So now, is there any part of your life, your childhood, anything, or that deepened your relationship with KAIA, or the inspiration, or the attraction to the Bionic Woman and Xena and Wonder Woman? Like,
Okay, I can answer that, actually. I have the DVD box set of Roots, and I watched it again the other day, and I realized that show is what impacted me years ago as a kid that turned this whole thing into the saga that it is now. I basically simply took it out, the Civil War that was in the States, and took it out into space and used an Amazon. But that is the funny thing. Everybody goes, how did you get 9 books? Well, honestly, it just kept going. The story wouldn't stop.
Right.
And I had to just keep going with what sounded right, what felt right. The character had a long arc, and yes, by the 9th book, it was, when you read it, you will know that it was finished. But it literally took 9 books to do it. And then I had no idea until Stephen adapted the first book, and he's like, we cannot turn this first book into one movie. And I'm like, well, why not? I don't know. I didn't understand. He's like, it's a 6-hour movie. So we broke broke it in half, and I knew exactly where to split it. It was perfect because it was right in the middle of the book. And I'm like, okay, that's the natural procession. That's where we're going to drop it. I will tell you, and all the fans need to know this in advance, there are cliffhangers. And I mean, people are going to kill me because they're going to watch the end of the movie and that's it. What? We have to wait for the next one? It's going to be like another Harry Potter. Yeah.
Okay, that's exciting. You know, I don't know if you remember.
It's very exciting.
It's really exciting because I remember when The Green Mile first came out as a book, and it was not sold as a single book. It was sold in chapters. The Green Mile.
I did not know that.
Oh my gosh.
That's a great movie.
So it was an amazing movie, a great story, but when it was first published, it was published in, like I said, by chapters. So you literally, as the reader, you had to wait, and it was literally like waiting for the next, comic book to come out to know what happened. And so it's really, really, really exciting. And so, do you think? I mean, are you both of you? And this question is for both of you. Are you leaning more towards a cinematic presentation of it, or are you leaning more towards like a television series, like a television miniseries, like like all of them?
That's the big question that we have right now. Is that we weren't sure about. Because we have 10 phases. Anyone that's a script writing knows that, you have 10 sections and 10 segments. There's 10 segments when you're writing a script or even a television series. Then you go based on where that character's arc goes in between that point and then the sub arcs.
And the sub stories, right?
Joins it. And you have to have something come and line up before to where it's has the intrigue to move to the next moment. So it just depends on where you put it. It could be built either way.
Yeah.
Depends on who funds it, how they want to do with it. I can work on that, and we can adapt it to however we need it to happen. So we're aiming for an hour and 20 minute film, and then it ended up being like a 2-hour film. So that could simply easily be 2 episodes.
Right, because I was going to say, it seems like it could lend itself beautifully in either medium. It seems like it could lend itself beautifully to a cinematic series like, Laura, you were referring to Harry Potter, or it seems like it could really lend itself to a series like Game of Thrones. So when you were writing these books, you never thought, wow, these would be amazing motion pictures, and I could see it on the big screen someday.
I did, actually. I was told, I have a little voice in my head, and the voice said, this is huge. This is going to be really big. Right. But every time you get, like Stephen said, the closed doors, the walls of the entertainment industry are solid. And it is all who you know. If it wasn't for Stephen Pressley, who we are interviewing with me, I would not be where I am. So, Thank you.
Wow.
With all my heart, Stephen, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. It's been a pleasure from the beginning, Laura. I don't know exactly how to say that. For me, there's never anything about being blown away. I normally someone points and says, let's do this, and I'm saying, do we have the ammunition? Do we have the ammunition? I'll go make it happen. That's the type of guy I am. You need a star, an actor, a name. I go get them. You need the crew. You need something that looks phenomenal. We'll go do that. It's really just based upon if I love it and if I enjoy it, I'll do it. If I don't, I won't.
Right. So, wow. That's a pretty good way of. That's a pretty good barometer. Do I love it? Great. Rolling with it. Question: Do you have who you're? I know you're looking at Lucy Lawless as the female lead, but do you have an idea for your male leads?
Well, Angus was already in the trailer.
The male lead would be, I guess, Ian. And no, we do not have anybody for Ian yet.
Ian hasn't been cast yet because he was not in the trailer. But we have ideas of who that we would want. And in comparison to some of the other things that we have looked at based upon what we would be given or what we would be looking at, I would go in head first and into the negotiating room and see who I could get that would best fit the role. And I would take Laura with me to let her know exactly who, and she'll give me names, and we'll look and we'll decide who that she sees in her head versus what I would see, and we kind of put those together and see what we can create the perfect mesh that will be not only pleasing performance, but also be economical based upon,
Sure.
like I said, friendships, networking, and connections.
Well, in 2010, I have always thought of Lucy Lawless as KAIA's partner, and that has never changed.
Right.
So
You're holding on to that.
All the people, we are absolutely lucky to get Angus. I mean, he is going to be an awesome Scarloff. He, of course, plays the villain, as he shows in the trailer. He is one mean...
I did recognize
character.
him.
That's all I got to tell. And Scarloff, Angus is going to be perfect for him. But I always saw Lucy as being the partner to KAIA. And Dr. Alexandra Alexis Collins, that's her name, she is an absolute second to KAIA. She would be the second star in the entire series. And to get Lucy, that's the hope.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll hold that with you.
Second, if we weren't able to get Lucy in that role, we were also looking at Rebecca De Mornay as well.
Oh wow. Okay. When can we look forward to KAIA on the big screen?
We're hoping for production next year. If we can get funding in place by the end of the year, we're hoping for production next year, and it would be a 2021 release date.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Right, Stephen? Does that sound right?
That's what we would be hoping to shoot, but we want to make sure that all the distribution is there and all the funding is in place and organized to shoot. And once we're there, we're going to get to work. So we're hoping for that. But we have to go roll with whatever cards that we're dealt. So we're going to see how we're doing, and then we're going to try to make it happen.
Well, it sounds like we've got a dream team happening here. You know, I mean, it really does. I mean, I wish that we were actually doing a video chat, because I'm smiling so big right now, my ears are about to pop off. This is just cool, really, really, really cool. And if there's anything else you want to add, like that you want to let our listeners know about KAIA, about you, about how grateful you are, about how awesome your life is, please.
I am grateful that we got somebody that literally looks like KAIA. I mean, Stephen had done an open audition, and the first girl fell out. And when I found out she wasn't even that tall, I was like, no, that wouldn't have worked. And then here comes Margarita Murphy, who just steps into the role, and she froze her butt off. It was in winter with that outfit, and she was a trooper. I mean, if there is ever a KAIA molded out of rawness and newness, the girl is new. She would be a new face to the industry. But she's so sweet, and she has an awesome Irish accent that I think that the audience is just going to love her. We filmed in Ireland.
More so than a lot, but she did a lot in Belfast. But she didn't have to go to Chambéry, Switzerland, on top of the Alps like the rest of us did. We about froze to death there. But Belfast, she's a young lady that lives near Dublin, but she's from Armagh, so she's kind of used to it.
Right.
And she's tough, and that's why she kind of fits the role in a lot of ways too. Is that there was a really famous Irish or UK Amazonian, Ulster Scott Amazonian, or something like that. My sister was telling me all about it right when I was doing this, and I was like, what? So I started watching documentaries about it, and I was like, hey, that does sound a lot. That kind of works out, Right. And then I started thinking about it. And was looking at things, and then I can't really take credit for all that because literally my fiance helped me pick female actors didn't want to even put out a notion that this is anything awkward for me. I do everything as professional, family-oriented, complete respect to all male and female cast members.
Right.
Based on whatever orientation, doesn't matter. But we always use a protective unit. But she actually picked her, and I looked at her and I said, okay. And then she went back and said, no, I don't know. No, sure.
You're like, no, yeah, that's good.
Job, so.
It's
Did a great job.
Yeah, the trailer is awesome, and like I said, I thought it was awesome just seeing it on my little phone screen. So, I am super excited. So, what I'm hoping is that you stay in touch and keep us posted on the progress, and let's revisit this when you know the direction that's going to go, what we're looking at, maybe for a release date. So that we can let folks know about the excitingness of KAIA.
100%. Can I give one shout out here? I want to give a couple shouts.
You can shout as much as you want.
First of all, I want to give a huge shout out for that trailer to Brownian out of Palmwood Studios in London. The most lovely people on earth. We shot that in 6K anamorphic with Atlas Orion lenses. Now, to get that, it's around 20,000 pounds for the 4 days. We got the equipment for a lot less because of friendship and the fact that our good old boy there wanted us to get him a pack of cigarettes.
That's it?
Thing of cigarettes from another country. And to Tobias Marshall, who is an incredible cinematographer and director of photography. If no one knows his work, go and look. You'll see James Bond, Spectre, all the other stuff. Working closely together, me and him really just clicked. And with the team that we had, really helped make that happen. And definitely for the stunts, the FKR guys, I literally, without them, I wouldn't be able to have done anything. They even provided the castle. I mean, we paid the permit, but we got the castle, and the castle's over 1,000 years old. We were fighting on the ground. How cool is that?
No, that's beyond cool. That's absolutely beyond cool. And you're welcome to keep shouting out as much as you want. I would gnaw off my right arm to be able to be in a 1,000-year-old castle. Like, for serious. No, I really would. If someone could get me into a 1,000-year-old castle, yeah. You want my right arm? Absolutely. Just get me in.
Laura was in there, and I think after she got in there and it got dark and it got cold, I think she was ready to hit the hotel.
Oh my God.
I live in Arizona. It was freezing. I came back with a head cold, but it was well worth it.
There was one last shout I wanted to give out to my partners for post-production, Outpost from Belfast. I want to thank those guys a lot for all the work they did. And also wanted to thank, shout out for Amadeus Productions, which is my company, and Savvy Dalmia, who helped me with the adaptation. Is a great young female writer. Graduated from the university, one of the cinema universities in London, and she is from India, so it was great for her with the diversity and everything. Much love to her too.
Wonderful, thank you. And Laura, do you have any shout outs you wanna?
I just want to thank all my investors who believe in the project, who have helped make it happen. I want to thank Cheryl. She knows who she is, for doing everything that she's done and been my angel. Mm-hmm. And without Cheryl, we would not be talking. We would not have a trailer. She did it all. She is an absolute godsend to me. We used to go horseback riding years ago, back in the 90s, and we literally lost touch, and thank God for Facebook, we reconnected, and it was meant to be because she believed in the project, and she bought and paid for the trailer. So,
wow.
Shout out to Cheryl.
Shout out. I'm clapping for Cheryl right now. Clapping for Cheryl. Thank you, Cheryl.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you, Cheryl.
I stay out of that. I stay out of the money part like that, but I knew Cheryl. Cheryl's a really, really, really nice and lovely lady. Very great person.
Oh, so you know Cheryl as well, Stephen.
Yes, she was there when we filmed in Ireland. Yes.
And, if there's anything that we here at Pro Sisters can do to help, we certainly are 100%, 150 million gazillion % behind you. So,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you
seriously.
for helping us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, truly, when I say however, really, truly, like if we can help with investors, if we can help with whatever you need, let us know.
Okay, we will.
Promotions, whatever.
Let's do it. I can't wait to get this first film out. I mean, I would love it. I can't wait because just like for me, I feel personally invested at the point now that it's not a job.
Right.
It's more of like seeing a child grow up.
Yeah, that's beautifully put, and I can relate to that. That's how I feel about the music, and anyway, without getting into all that, that's really, really beautifully put.
I'm still trying to come out with an album. I just don't know if I'm going to be so old. That's going to have to turn from what it was when it was rock, or it's going to have to be bluegrass, depending on how old I get. So.
You're gonna. Well, keep us posted on that, Stephen. keep us posted.
Wonderful talking to you guys.
What's that?
It was so wonderful talking to you guys.
Truly, what a pleasure. Really, truly, what a pleasure and a delight and a joy to meet both of you, well, through the phone, and to speak with you. I just really thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you. Thank you again for this opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely. You guys have a wonderful
100%.
rest. Stephen, go in and cool off. I know it's like a sauna out there.
Yeah, I gotta go find my little one and my dad, who's really pulling the grandfather duties right now really hard for me.
Yeah, he's playing the grandfather card.
Wonderful day, you are amazing, and if there's any way that I can help promote what you guys are doing, push it my way as well.
Thank you. You know what? It takes a village, and it takes people like yourselves who actually care about relationships. I mean, this is just all around wonderful and serendipitous, and makes my heart smile really big. And Stephen, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for the things that you value, and thank you for putting people first, especially in your industry. Thank you so much for putting people first. And Laura, thank you for your vision and bringing it to the world.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and so please stay in touch. And
Will do.
All right, much love to both of you. Be well, and hopefully we'll talk sooner than later.
Okay, and I definitely want to hear from you on what you think of that book.
I definitely.
Just on another note, may the force be with you.
Did you say may the force be with you?
Thank you.
May the force be with you. Yes, may the force be with you both. Yes.
With KAIA. Yes.
May the force be with you.
Amazon's rule.
Yeah. Yes. All right, much love. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And truly, as Stephen, as you said, may the force be with you.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
You as well.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I can be daddy now.